Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to week 5 of the BattleBots prediction game. And before we get started today, let me first say a hearty congratulations to you guys, the audience, because last week you absolutely smashed it. The pictures with all the details are on your screen right now, and as you can see, you got 8 out of 8 fights correct, whereas I did absolutely miserably. I went for a lot of surprising results I thought were going to happen, and they just didn't come true. And you guys absolutely smashed it, and you got all 8 results, which extends your lead now to 6.5 points. I have a lot of catching up to do. Let's see if I can do it this week in the BattleBots Prediction League. So, as per usual, I've not looked at the fight cards. You're going to see my live, unfiltered reactions to this fight card. I know what the main event is, as per usual, because I just always see it, because you can't avoid it. I record these on a Tuesday. The fight card comes out on a Monday, so it's just unavoidable. I can avoid the fight card. I can't avoid the main event card. It just appears. So I know what the main event is, but we're going to see what the Fight Night card is for this week. Wow, Triple Crown on the YouTube exclusive. I'm excited to see that. We've got Hydra in there. We've got Captain Shredderator in there. We have Dragon Slayer, a robot I've never seen before. Yeah, it's a good first week. This is a good fight card this week, I think. So let's just get straight into it. The first fight is free shipping against Uppercut. Free shipping, of course, lost to Blacksmith in week 1. I thought they were going to win, but they didn't. And Uppercut, meanwhile, beat Gigabyte also in week 1. I saw that one coming. But it's going to be an interesting fight, this one, because, again, I think it's very similar to that free shipping fight against Blacksmith, in that, on paper, I think the free shipping should survive it, but whether they do is a completely different kettle of fish. I'm gonna go for free shipping, and I think they're just gonna. I don't know. I just think that wedge will come in handy. I don't know if Uppercut can get the bite that Blacksmith could, because Blacksmith came over the top to damage the wheels and the tires and the wedge and all that, whereas Uppercut will be coming from underneath. And again, it is about the low game. I say it every week. You've just got to predict who will get under who first. And for this first fight, I think free shipping is going to get underneath Uppercut first and should put them into the wall and maybe break something. But Uppercut is a durable machine. But I'm going to go for free shipping. I'm thoroughly ready to be wrong on this one. It's Blacksmith versus Shatter for the next fight. And Blacksmith, of course, got the win against free shipping. We just talked about it. And Shatter got a win in a YouTube exclusive fight over Sub-Zero, if I remember correctly. Put some nice holes into the top of Sub-Zero there. This is a very interesting fight because Blacksmith used to be a hammer. It's still a hammer. It looked very good in that fight against free shipping. I was very impressed with the hammer saw. I thought it did good damage. Shatter, of course, did good damage against it, but it was against Sub-Zero, which is not the best bot in BattleBots, whereas I put a lot of stock into free shipping. I'm going to go for Blacksmith. I think the damage potential is more. I think they can do more damage to Shatter than Shatter can do to Blacksmith, but it's going to be a humdinger. It's a fantastic fight. If Blacksmith still had the firing hammer, I'd probably go for Shatter, but the opposite way around, I'm going to go for Blacksmith. They're going to make it 2-0, and Al Kindler is going to be very, very happy. Fight 3 is Jäger against P1. Now, we've seen P1. They beat Valkyrie in their first fight, if I remember correctly. It was a fantastic performance. It was an absolute humdinger of a fight. I believe P1 won on the judge's decision. I'm fairly sure. I think I'm correct. And Jäger, I don't think we've seen before. It looks like a cluster bot. One is a sort of a saw blaze sort of looking machine. And the other one is a sort of, it's a horizontal, isn't it? A horizontal spinner. So I assume it's a cluster bot. An interesting fight this for both machines. I don't really know what the efficiency, what the damage output of Jäger is. Can they really cause damage to P1? Will P1 be struggling after taking a lot of damage against Valkyrie? They took a lot of damage after that, after that fight. I trust P1 will be back in some fighting state. The question is, do I think Jäger can cause, or Jäger, can cause damage against P1? I don't think either team will get a knockout. It's all about the judge's decision, isn't it? I'm going to go for P1 because of the weight. I assume Jäger is a cluster bot, and that means all of their robots are going to be a lighter weight. And in general, that is more of a hindrance than anything you can get off of a cluster bot. There's only a handful of cluster bots that have been really effective, and there's only one I can think of right now off the top of my head, which is Crash and Burn, and that's because in reality it's just two lumps of metal. They didn't really, there aren't any active weapons on that robot. But I think to make it all work, Jäger will have compromised some areas. And while I don't think P1 can knock them out and obliterate them, I think that P1 is more than capable to push them into the screws, push them all around, put them under a hammer, get them stuck, get them wedged, get them damaged. And I think P1 will get the win here. Our fourth fight is Hydra against Gruff. What a fight this is. Hydra lost sensationally to Endgame in the main event of week 1, while Gruff beat Switchback, the newcomers, who I was very impressed with. I was also very impressed with Gruff. Is this a good opponent for Gruff though? Probably not. I think sometimes with the big machines like Hydra or Tombstone, this happens too. Once they lose their first fight, especially if it's a main event first fight, they get given a slightly easier second fight. And that's not to say that Gruff isn't a fantastic competitor. Gruff has the potential, I think, semi-final, quarter-final, semi-final, maybe if a lucky draw to the final. Gruff has really come through in the last couple of years. And, I can see them making a deep run into the tournament. But really, this is just an awful opponent for them to face in Hydra. I think Hydra is lower. I think they can get underneath. Unless Gruff fits something on the front that can slide under Hydra every time, I think Hydra will get underneath. And I think they'll throw Gruff into orbit. And I think they'll get a very confident, cocky win. That come what knockout round, come what may, come what the knockout round, Hydra can bank on this win that this will get them into the top 32, this win, even if they face someone deadly in the final match and lose. If they put on a good show, they'll be banked for the round of 32. That's what they try and do in BattleBots, because it is a show. Until that final 32, it is a show. Really, it's not. There's no rhyme or reason to the fight night things. I'm fairly sure they're chosen by producers. Until that round of 32, when all of those have been seeded, that's when it becomes a proper competition. And they're going to want Hydra to be in the next round, which is why I think they've thrown them a bone in Gruff, because I think it's just perfect. I think Gruff is just a perfect opponent for Hydra to beat and look good while doing it. And, I love Gruff, but I think that is the reality of this fight. Hydra for me. It's a battle of the full body spinners in fight 5. It's Gigabyte versus Captain Shredderator. And I have no idea, and I don't know how any of you will have any idea at home either, because let's be honest, I've never seen a full body versus full body fight. I'm sure someone can link me to a fight that involves them in the comments. I would love to watch one. I can't wait to watch this one tonight. The battle of the full body spinners. Gigabyte versus Captain Shredderator. Gigabyte lost convincingly to Uppercut in its first fight in week 1, whereas Captain Shredderator beat Tombstone sensationally, and they're looking very good. They can withstand a hit. Gigabyte, not so much, but they must be built to fight their own designs somewhat. It's going to be a battle of It's going to be Beyblades, if anybody remembers them. It's going to be a battle of the Beyblades. So I guess it's eeny, meeny, miny, mo to which one's going to be... which one is going to win. I'm going to go for Captain Shredderator. It's already won a fight. It's shown that it can withstand some punishing blows. I think they'll withstand the blows a lot better than Gigabyte. And I think Captain Shredderator will get a win. But really, this one's a toss-up, 50-50. The next fight is Dragon Slayer against Duck. It's the Duck against the Dragon. I've not seen Dragon Slayer yet. Looks like a vertical spinner with a little fluffy tail. Very bog standard. I think it must be their first robot. I know nothing about the Dragon Slayer team. Apologies, I don't keep up to date until the actual episode airs, and then I get all my information. Dragon Slayer looks good. Looks like a good first robot. They've been given a good opponent in Duck, someone who's not going to completely trash them if they do lose. You know, it'd be a bit evil putting them against Tombstone for their first fight or something like that. So yeah, they've brought in a good machine, I think. Duck, of course, lost to Witch Doctor on a judge's decision last time out. I think some people thought it was a bit controversial. I thought Witch Doctor were good value for the win and thoroughly deserved it. But here, against a robot that's not as experienced, I think Duck are going to win. I think they're going to ram Dragon Slayer around. I don't know how strong that Dragon Slayer spinner is. It might be amazing. It might rip a massive chunk off of Duck and send it into orbit, into the screws. But until I see it, I'm going to err on the side of caution and go for Duck to win this fight. The YouTube exclusive sees Valkyrie against Triple Crown. And Valkyrie, we know, lost to P1 in its first fight, I believe. And Triple Crown is, I believe, built by the creator of Panzer, from Panzer Mark 4 and Mark 2 and Mark 1 and Mark 3, the whole series, from Robotica and Robot Wars Extreme Warriors. So, he's got a bit of cred behind him in terms of being a builder. But this robot, it's modular. I believe he can put the weapons on any section of the triangle, as it were. The problem is, I think it's going to be very, very unsturdy. I lost the word, so I went for unsturdy, which is not the word. It's going to be fragile, is the word I'm looking for. It's going to be very, very fragile. And I think Valkyrie are going to be looking for a win. I think this might be a YouTube exclusive because it's over quickly. And it's very, very punishing. It's a very punishing fight. I think Valkyrie are going to rip the chunks off of Triple Crown and get a very confident win that, again, like Hydra, as I mentioned earlier in the episode, will set them up for a round of 32 appearance. Valkyrie for me. And our main event, what a main event this is. It's the Champions Endgame against the runners-up from the year before, Witch Doctor. It's an interesting fight. Witch Doctor, if they win this, there's real credibility behind the calls that this is their year. This is their chance to cement themselves as one of the real favourites for the title this year. If they can beat Endgame, I think they will really, really be looking good for that title. Do I think they'll beat Endgame though? Endgame obviously beat Hydra, who I tipped Hydra to beat Endgame. And I think Endgame can go far again. I would not be surprised if Endgame won the title again. They've got a very good design and it's been very well refined. Witch Doctor's got to bring something, some kind of wedge to get under Endgame, surely, for this fight. But I'm going to go for Endgame. I think Witch Doctor had a lot more reliability against Duck. They've proven to some degree that they have the reliability. But I think there's still questions over it. when they fight someone who is truly, truly capable of dealing big hits. And I think that's why I'm going to go for Endgame, because I'm just not quite sure on Witch Doctor yet. But if Witch Doctor win, it's going to be very, very interesting to see what people say. I think, if they win, or they look good while losing, they are odds on to get to the final, I think, again. But I will go for Endgame, just because they look so confident against Hydra. They look so good. And I think they'll just continue with that upward trajectory. While Witch Doctor still has that slight question mark on its reliability. It's going to be a humdinger. It's probably the best main event on paper so far. The Hydra Endgame one was good, but we didn't know how both these machines are going to come into the tournament. We have a good idea of these two now. We've seen them fight once each, and that could be the final. That fight card fight could be the final in however many episodes time. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. The link to the Google form, the link to the Google form is in the description down below. You've got a lot to live up for. You got 8 out of 8 last week. Can you do the same this week? There's only one way to find out. Go and try it out. The Google form in the description. I will see you next week, where hopefully I'll have done a little bit better and pulled back some pride. But at the moment, you guys are running away with it. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next week. Goodbye.